It is June 13th, 2025. We're going to continue reading this. We are on page 180. Not even close to the halfway mark yet. I mean, we're close, but not at the halfway mark yet. You can say whatever you want while I'm just actively reading. You just have to talk loud.
Every single time you look up a review for this book, even the people who like it, who think they like it, I should say, will emphasize over and over and over again that, just don't go into this expecting an epic fantasy. It's really not an epic fantasy. It's more close-knit, even though it's advertised directly on the book as an epic fantasy.
A wildly original and complex fantasy.
And that it takes more than 75% of the way into the book that was advertised as a standalone novel, as in...
Hold on. Here's the literal quote on the back of the book that you probably can't see in focus. Unlike anything I've ever read, a layered and complex novel that delivers on the promise of epic fantasy. It's literally on the back of the book.
And somebody
lying. That is somebody named Zoraida Cordova lying through their fucking teeth. People love to call this book complex. What they mean is it's badly written. They think it's complex because it confuses them, because it's badly written, because it's a standalone novel that acts like it's the fourth book in a series. So you just get millions of names thrown at you and events and shit listed off as though you already know what that is, because it's badly written. Just because it's confusing doesn't mean it's clever or complex. It's just badly written.
And most of the reviewers, there's been multiple people now live blogging their reading of the book or posting videos at different stages of reading the book.
Hold on, there's a good review. We'll link it in the bottom of this one. Just find that. And then you can just send me that and I'll link it in this one. We'll link the one good review that we found that's talking about exactly this shit. We'll link that because that's good and they deserve more views.
And it's what every review on Goodreads sums up as.
Yep.
People were so excited. So enthusiastic starting out, and then they end up absolutely fucking dreading and hating the thought of even picking up the book to keep reading.
And these people aren't even picking up on all of the racism and how badly the child characters are being treated and how fucking horrible the protagonists are. They're not even getting that much because it's too confusing even for that. They just know they fucking hate it and do not want to pick it up again.
But yeah, and a lot of the other reviews will also say not only did they dread picking it up again, but they thought they had enjoyed it while they were watching or while they were actively reading it, and then
just
as soon
scoot
as
your
they
face this way.
They thought that they were really enjoying it when they were actively reading it, but as soon as they put it down, they could not remember anything at all that had happened in the book, who anybody was, and just did not want to pick it up again. And if they'd force themselves to pick it up again, they'd only get like a handful of pages in before sitting it down again for another 2 weeks before completely abandoning it.
Okay, we're actually on page 181. This is the part where Martha Wells is doing the thing that people have been asking her to do for almost a decade now, and just, like, it's literally the bare minimum of just actually freeing other slaves and prisoners instead of violently murdering them out of spite. We finally get a spark of fucking life and energy in this book, and it takes over almost 200 pages. It takes getting to page 180 for literally any of these characters to move at more than a fucking snail's pace and to get a modicum of fucking personality that is not just being edgy and cruel for the sake of being edgy, as though being cruel makes you cool. Again, I have to bring it up again. Why did Kai lie? Why did Kai lie about needing to keep everybody aboard the boat to use as hostages? Why did he say that? Why did Martha Wells literally instantaneously tell us that was a lie? And then we still haven't been given whatever actual possible reason he could have for saying that in the first place and not wanting to let anybody off the boat before they summon the immortal, murderous fantasy Nazi that will kill everybody on the boat.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 181. That's from a thing that already happened.
You are 43% of the way
We're
through.
43% of the way through. Page 181 out of 414. And again, she's ruining it. She's ruining it. Kai is actually showing some goddamn life. Some fucking shreds of solidarity. He's actually trying to rescue other demons. Now the problem is that
Probably gonna get
Kai
you
is the
punished
most
for it.
overpowered motherfucker on the planet, and Martha Wells doesn't want him to have any actual weaknesses. He's managed to get most of the demons loose. People are shooting crossbow bolts at him. I don't know why they're not going in. It's still raining, I think. Well, no, it did stop raining. It's still really humid and there's still puddles in there. Just splash anybody who tries to fight back. They could just carry buckets of water. That's really stupid. I'm
Are they
thinking
fighting the demons? Or-
everybody, okay, they missed it. All of the demons are in one big cage in the middle of this courtyard, and then there's balconies and stuff around it so people can just look at them like it's a zoo. Except zoos don't torture animals. Now I'm thinking about this very clearly more than Martha Wells ever did. Why would you be shooting the demons with a crossbow bolt? They could just be throwing water balloons at them. That's cheaper. Just throw water balloons at them. Just, like, oh, we have a magical thing that makes it rain. Alright, anybody who can make that is also going to have backup plans. The guards who are terrified of demons are going to have their own backup plans. Why aren't they just throwing water balloons at them? At the very least. Because we were explicitly told there's balconies up above the cage so people can look down. Dump water on them. It's literally all you gotta do. Blah blah. Page 181. He got the last chain. Kai has been shot. I'll just read these 3 paragraphs. These 4 paragraphs. As Kai stood to reach the next demon, something slammed into his back. The shock of it knocked him forward. His forearms hit the slick paving and the tool jolted out of his hand and clanged on the stone. Also, saying his forearms hit the ground is really weird and awkward. Just say his hands hit. Because what is he fucking... It's just weird. It's just unnecessarily. Don't put the word forearms there. Just say he hit the ground or his hands hit the ground because he threw out his hands to catch himself. His forearms hit the ground. That's really weird and specific and throws off the literal momentum of the sentence. As Kai stood to reach the next demon, something slammed into his back. The shock of it knocked him forward. His forearms hit the slick paving, and the tool jolted out of his hand and clanged on the stone. Next paragraph. Kai snarled, tried to shove upright, and found his right shoulder stiff and unmoving. Pain grew in it like a hot poker under his skin. With a wince, he reached back and groped for the source. His hand found metal, and he pulled. It hurt even more coming out. Hissing in fury, he found himself holding a metal crossbow bolt fired from somewhere on the gallery. Next paragraph. He tossed it aside and crawled forward, grabbed up the tool again, and cut 2 more chains. That's great. He actually gives a shit, or at least seems to give a shit.
Did he catch it? Did he catch a crossbow bolt.
No,
not
he,
even an arrow.
no, he pulled it out of his shoulder.
Okay, it sounded, from the way you read that out loud, it sounded like hissing in fury or whatever. He had one in his hand that had been shot from the galley, as in he just caught one.
Okay, no, let me reread those first two paragraphs again. He did not.
I heard him pulling it out, but I thought there was a second one.
No, he did not catch a crossbow bolt out of midair. That would be...
Par for the course.
That would be entirely absurd. Okay, we're continuing. No, he did not catch a crossbow bolt out of midair. He pulled it out of his shoulder. He tossed it aside and crawled forward, grabbed up the tool again, and cut 2 more chains. Another bolt clanged off the paving somewhere to his left, then a second thumped into his lower back. From the new, tearing agony, it had just missed his spine. Enna's body was held in a kind of stasis while Kai was in it, and any hurts would heal almost instantly once he could get the bolts out. But Enna's body could be torn apart or peppered with so many metal blades that it collapsed and left Kai trapped. Alright, now we're at the paragraph that made me stop and have to complain about all of this. He got the last chain on the current demon, who tried to crawl away. Kai reached back and managed to pull the new bolt out. 2 more thudded into his hip and lower back. I don't have time for this! Kai lifted himself and shoved with his feet to reach the next demon. At least there was movement in the court now, freed demons scrabbling or dragging themselves toward the walls, others struggling to their feet. Something thumped his left leg, and he threw a look over his shoulder to see another metal bolt. Kai growled and yanked it out. And the thing she's ruining here is any sense of fucking stakes. Because Kai is in the body of a child, and he can literally just keep ripping out crossbow bolts that are being shot at him like it's fucking nothing. And to the point that he's just irritated and just thinks, I don't have time for this. It's not actually hurting him in a way that fucking matters. It's not going to incapacitate him. It's just a mild irritant. And it's just ruining all of the tension that could be in this fucking scene. It's just ridiculous. And it's, again, more ableism from Martha Wells, and also just really stupid. Why did she say, Enna's body was held in a kind of stasis while Kai was in it, and any hurts would heal almost instantly. H-U-R-T-S. Any hurts. H-U-R-T-S. Would heal almost instantly. A. Don't fucking tell people that your goddamn protagonist has literal near instantaneous healing abilities as long as they get whatever it is out. And therefore it doesn't matter how much damage they do ripping shit out, even if it's serrated. Don't tell us that. That literally means we cannot give a single shit how many times he gets stabbed, shot, literally anything. That's just shit writing. That is shit. Hurts? And she's trying to convince us that Kai and the body he's in is not a child. But then she has him describe grievous fucking injuries as hurts. Like a fucking toddler. In the middle of getting shot by crossbow bolts. Enna's body was held in a kind of stasis while Kai was in it, and any hurts would heal almost instantly. Hurts? Just say wounds. Injuries. What in the fuck? Why the fuck would you say hurts? While trying to convince us all, backtracking to pretend it's not pedophilia, to try and convince us that Kai is not a child and is not in the body of a child, but then you have him think, yeah, any hurts will get healed instantly, as though he's even a younger kid than we were already led to believe. Why would you do that? And why... Literally don't give your fucking characters instantaneous healing and then have scenes where they just get fucking shot at by crossbow bolts, because you're literally making it impossible for us to give a shit. like, I was starting to get a little bit invested because he's actually doing the bare minimum of freeing the other demons. And then then Martha Wells has to come along and say, oh, there's no stakes though. Yeah, he's getting shot by crossbow bolts. Don't worry. Introduced right at this fucking second, because this literally didn't exist before now. Before, he had to literally use his goddamn demon powers himself to heal himself, and he needed energy to be able to do that. Now she's telling us on page 181, changing the magic system again without any foreshadowing, that all you gotta do is remove the thing from the wound, or I'm sorry, the hurt. Remove the object from the hurt, and it'll instantly get healed. And she decided to describe it as any hurts would heal almost instantly. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Who let her publish this? And it's funny. My twin pointed out there's a really big acknowledgments page on the last page of the book. I'll read that to you really quick, because we need to shame everybody listed here. Acknowledgments. This book might not exist without my friend Felicia O'Sullivan, who must have read what felt like 100 drafts of the first 30,000 to 80,000 words with no resolution in sight, and who was encouraging and enthusiastic and helped me figure out what I was trying to do. This book would not be in your hands without editor Lee Harris, publisher Irene Gallo, jacket designer Christine Foltzer, editorial assistant Matt Rusin, the copy editors and proofreaders, and the rest of the Tor.com team. That's just spelled Tordotcom, just for the fucking record. Especially Mordecai, Desiree, and Renata. This book would not be nearly as lovely without cover artist Cynthia Shepard. So what the fuck does jacket designer mean if that's not this person who did the art?
Probably all the quotes and stuff.
That's really pathetic. You don't have to, whatever. This book would not be nearly as lovely without cover artist Cynthia Shepard and map artist Reese Davies. And I would still not be writing without my agent, Jennifer Jackson, and Michael Curry. Well, first of all, you shouldn't be thanking people for designing a map where they put there's like a hole. You see those words right there where the pages turn that we can't fucking read because that's where the crease is? Don't thank somebody for designing a map that's literally not readable in the book, because that's where the fucking crease is. Look at that. You could have put it literally anywhere. You could have put it sideways. You could have put it in smaller text like everything else is. Why would you do that? I literally can't tell you what that says, because that's literally where the pages meet and fold into each other. Don't thank somebody for designing a map like that. And like, especially because that's like the biggest area of the map. That's the biggest like lettering on this map. And we can't fucking read it. All of those people and
That has to be why they're mentioning this. They know.
so many people that read the, what do they call it? ARC,
Advanced reader copy.
advanced reader copies. So many of the people who were given advanced reader copies left reviews saying this doesn't seem like it was edited in any fucking way at all. So it seems like they had to put in those acknowledgments to pretend, or maybe not pretend. Maybe all of these people literally are just that fucking bad at their jobs, and they put that in, say, no, it was edited. Look at all these editors. Look at all these people responsible for this. And it's like, that's worse. If you are telling me that you have paid people to actually edit this book, and this is the result that you shipped out for $28.99,
which includes all the plot holes that you forgot
including
to edit out when you
all
changed
of,
your mind about
including literally all of the plot holes, all of the inconsistencies, all of the objectively bad writing that you have seen me suffer through live. Well, not live, because I'm not live streaming. My phone can't do that. Well, actually, it probably can, but I don't know how to do that, and I don't feel like it. You've just been seeing me suffer through as I read this book, and like, It's just ridiculous. And again, on page 181, we're getting a major fucking retcon to how the goddamn demon magic is supposed to work. And another fucking mark of evidence that Kai is in fact a child, which we already know is true. He's a child. And then Martha Wells decides to state it as, I will read it again. Nobody's allowed to forget this shit. Anna's body was held in a kind of stasis while Kai was in it, and any hurts would heal almost instantly once he could get the bolts out. Hurts. You're making him seem way younger than I even thought he could possibly fucking be. What are you fucking doing? Why are we getting this massive retcon on page 181? He can't even do this shit in the current timeline, because in chapter 1, he had to purposefully do it consciously using his own energy, and he did get, of course, overpowered amounts of energy purely from the pain of the injuries, but he consciously had to do something about it. Now, on page 181, in the past, she's saying, well, actually, just no setup, no foreshadowing, nothing. It just happens all by itself and doesn't seem to be costing him literally anything, because he can just do this all day. As long as he doesn't get overwhelmed all at once. Which isn't gonna happen because these guards... Oh, I just learned this trope name yesterday. It's idiot plot. This is an idiot plot. Literally all the guards have to do is throw water balloons or throw buckets of water. Literally anything. But they're not doing that because they have to be stupid on purpose.
And the
for the fucking... Huh?
You might just have to define idiot plot. Idiot plot
is when an idiot plot is when the only way the plot works is if every single character involved, or at least the antagonists, are just so fucking incompetent and do things that make no sense. That's the first book in the Murderbot Diaries is an idiot plot, because it literally would not have succeeded if not for the villains doing shit that makes literally no sense, that serves no purpose except to guarantee that they will die. I just need to make that its own video. I'm still trying to read this shit. But like she's ruining everything that was very, very bare minimum starting to be something here by now telling us, oh, yeah, Kai can get shot by... I should keep track. Hold on. Where'd my marker go? So I can make a goddamn tally of how many crossbow bolts. Do you know how deadly arrows and crossbow bolts are? Shit like Skyrim, especially crossbows. Things like Skyrim and just general RPGs where you just spam arrows are really fucking convincing. It's really giving people a very false idea that arrows are not actually that fucking strong. You can also just find a link to Archery Guy and link him in the fucking... Just send me links that we can put in the description of this video when I upload it. There's a reason bows and arrows and crossbows are not toys. A single fucking arrow is devastating. And now Kai is being shot.
The History Squad.
Is that what it's called?
That's his channel name. The History Squad. One word. No dash.
The History Squad. No word, no dash or spaces.
He's delightful.
Yeah.
He's killing it.
You can say that louder. I have to. I'm
He's
writing.
absolutely delightful. He's an archery expert, and also is just interested in medieval medicine and stuff, and talking about the different histories of wound care and everything.
I just need to make a list of it. Okay, I'm writing down on my arm quick while I go over this page. He's been hit in the shoulder. That was the first one. He was... And this is just described weirdly. Hold on, let me find it. And then a second Okay, dumb sentence. Another bolt clanged off the paving somewhere to his left, so that one missed. Then a second thumped into his lower back. From the new tearing agony, it had just missed his spine. It's just a confusing way to frame that, as though Martha Wells thinks getting hit by a crossbow bolt anywhere except the spine wouldn't hurt. It's just fucking weird.
Even if it misses your spine, that's going to be debilitating.
Yeah. So he's been hit in the shoulder, he's been hit in the lower back directly next to his spine, which my arm does not have enough space for that. Maybe it does, if I write smaller. Another one hit him in his hip and his lower back again. So he's been hit by 4 fucking bolts so far. I guess I gotta put tallies next to lower back now. So annoying. And now he's been hit in his left leg as well. He's been hit by 5 fucking bolts now. She tells us left leg, doesn't specify which hip for some reason. And this is my pink marker, so it's not going to show up as well. So you people probably can't read it. Alright, we are on page 182. I'm confused. Hold on. Okay, we're flipping back a page. He got the last chain on the current demon who tried to crawl away. Kai reached back and managed to pull the first one that hit him in the back out. 2 more thudded into his hip and lower back. I don't have time for this. Kai lifted himself and shoved with his feet to reach the next demon. That's really badly described, but that's not what we're looking at. At least there was movement in the courtyard. She keeps just shortening it to court. In the courtyard now, freed demons scrabbling or dragging themselves toward the walls, others struggling to their feet. Something thumped his left leg, and he threw a look over his shoulder to see another metal bolt. Kai growled and yanked it out. So he removed the first one that hit him in the back, and he just removed the one that just hit his left leg, but he still has one in his hip and his lower back. The confusing thing there is that she established she was pulling them all out immediately, but he's leaving these ones in, but we're not getting told he's can't reach them or something. A shout, then a choked off cry sounded from above. The next bolt, on page 182, continuing, went wild, clanging off a pillar across the courtyard. I'm just changing court to courtyard. It's a fucking courtyard. The limp body of a legionary flew out of the gallery to slam into the paving. An instant later, Taren vaulted the gallery rail and landed in the courtyard. She ran to Kai, sword raised, then twisted away at the last instant and leapt up to slash at something in the air. Her sword rang like a bell, and another bolt clattered to the floor. She said, "He's up in a balcony. I can't get to him." She glanced down at Kai, one brow lifting. He must look like a pincushion. "Is there anything I can do?" "Pull them out," he told her, crawling for the next set of chains. Blah, 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 blah. She plucked bolts out of Kai like a child picking flowers. Oh, we got another one. We have another instance of... it's like it's maybe 40 instances of it now.
Tell, don't
Just,
show.
yeah, telling instead of showing us. This is a literal, I'm not joking, this is a literal fucking sentence on page 182. She plucked bolts out of Kai like a child picking flowers. 2 of them, as far as I can fucking tell. The one in his hip, and the other one in his back, I guess? I don't know. I'm getting fucking confused. There's too many and it's hard to keep track. But below that, we get another instance of telling instead of showing, because there's so many opportunities to show us in this scene, and Martha Wells isn't taking any of them. It was like being torn open, but that was the only way to let Anna's body repair itself. Again, just telling us he's
Wait,
in pain.
Is this the past timeline?
Yes, this is in the past.
Okay, I was gonna say Anna.
Yeah, we still don't. Whatever. This is so fucking badly written.
Sarah's running around in the 12-year-old.
I will kill you! In that exact same paragraph, it starts with, it was like being torn open, but that was the only way to let Anna's body repair itself. With the bolts gone, Kai shoved forward on his hands and knees to the next cluster of demons. Izidi, a freed demon, reached for Tyren's leg, and Kai lunged toward them. He grabbed the demon by the scruff of the neck and shook them. Let me finish the paragraph first, I swear to God. No! Don't hurt her! She's helping us! Any of you touch her, I'll tear you apart! A. He's in the body of a child. He can't pick anybody up and by the scruff of the neck and shake them. He's in a fucking 10-year-old's body. He's in the body of a child. Everybody else here, as far as we know, is an adult. He can't pick up anybody by the scruff of the neck and shake them. Not how that works. B. She's immortal. Nobody can hurt her. Shut the fuck up. Martha Wells is once again demonizing what are fucking slaves and prisoners and saying, oh, they're threatening Tyren.
Victims of torture.
Victims of fucking torture. Just fucking say she's helping us instead of threatening them. These people are nearly comatose from getting tortured 24/7. Who knows how long? Multiple days, probably weeks, probably months, likely years. We don't fucking know. Instead of just explaining she's here to help, we get violent threats against them, even though she's immortal. Literally nobody can hurt her, as far as we know. She's literally immortal with a capital fucking I. Nobody needs to get threatened to protect her. And also, I do have to reiterate, because again, this is just Martha Wells doing... Fuck you. She's doing this shit again. I read the first line of this paragraph following this. She's doing this shit again. Tyren, the immortal, literally can't get hurt. She's a former fucking fantasy Nazi. She probably helped put at least some of these demons in here. She only stopped being, in quotes, heavy sarcasm, a fantasy Nazi, because it would have personally impacted her family. No fucks given for any of the victims of the fantasy Nazis. Just that it suddenly isn't benefiting her personally anymore. The next paragraph following that, he tossed the demon away. Read this. Look at this shit. He tossed the demon away, and they scrambled towards the wall of the courtyard. Still chained demons edged away from Kai and Tyren, staring. That had gotten their attention in a way his appeal for help hadn't, because Martha Wells is a useless sack of shit who hates slaves, who hates prisoners of war and victims of torture, and would rather demonize them and say they only listen to violence. So again, oppressed minority is what demons are supposed to be, and Kai is threatening other demons who are nearly comatose from torture and have no idea what they're doing, no idea what's going on, threatening them with violence to protect an immortal fantasy Nazi. And now we're being told, oh, The only thing they listen to is violence. They didn't listen when he asked for help exactly one time, not speaking very fucking loudly, when they're comatose and probably couldn't actually fucking hear him. Martha Wells' racism knows no bounds. She'll even be racist towards the fucking shit that she made up that aren't. Now somebody is recognizing him as Kai Enna. We're on page 183. It's Arn Neffa, who doesn't exist as a character. Oh, I hate Martha Wells so much. On page 183, Kai raised his voice to Carrie. If you want to kill hierarchs and legionaries, follow us to the temple halls, or you can lie here and rot like useless piles of shit. Alright, Martha Wells, I think you should get trapped in a cage where you get rained on and tortured with, no, rained on by acid! Xenomorph blood! Throw the fucking piles of xenomorph blood at her 24/7 for weeks, and then tell her that she is a useless pile of shit if she is not able to immediately recover instantaneously, like magic, and go fight the people that are threatening you. Tell you to fight. Because we only care about rescuing these demons from torture, not because they're people being tortured, but because they might be useful to the protagonists. And if they are not useful to the protagonists because they've been tortured and are traumatized into being comatose, then they are, in Martha Wells' own fucking words, useless piles of shit. I cannot fucking believe. What were those names in the acknowledgements again? Let's read through that again. I cannot believe Felicia, that's not a name. Felicia O'Sullivan, Lee Harris, Irene Gallo, Christopher Foltzer, Mordecai, Desiree, and Renata, Cynthia Shepard, Reese Davies, Jennifer Jackson, Michael Curry. Can you believe these people let this book get published and are trying to tell people in this fucking state, where we literally tell people that are just now getting rescued from being tortured, and they haven't even released all of the demons yet, just some of them. I don't fucking think they're all free yet. Yeah, he's saying that before he's even freed everybody. I will read that fucking quote again. Kai raised his voice to Carrie. If you want to kill hierarchs and legionaries, follow us to the temple halls, or you can lie here and rot like useless piles of shit.
You can imagine this is the equivalent of like walking into Guantanamo Bay or something, because these are all literal torture victims who have zero physical power, and including people who were dead when Kai was there, just dying on the floor.
There are literally people in this cage who are dead. They are literally rotting corpses from being tortured 24/7 for who knows how fucking long. Kai was in there for 3 days at minimum. We don't know how long because this is shittily fucking written. And now Martha Wells is telling us that if these demons don't get up immediately and be of fucking use, to the people that we know in the future are just gonna become an evil empire, then they are literally useless piles of shit. Her own fucking words. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus. Probably not. I will read that again. Again. If you want to kill hierarchs and legionaries, follow us to the temple halls. Or, if you're too fucking literally damaged physically and mentally from getting tortured by acid 24/7 for who knows how fucking long, you can lie here and rot like useless piles of shit. Martha Wells is so ableist that she can't even bring herself to sympathize for 5 seconds with victims of torture who have been getting tortured by what is supposed to be to them acid 24/7, including lying in it, their clothes soaked with it. She's so fucking evil that she decides if they can't immediately get back up on their fucking feet and make themselves useful to the rich fuckers freeing them for no other purpose but to use them as weapons, then that means they are useless piles of shit and deserve to lie there in the acid that they cannot get up from themselves. Because it's acid, that means they're useless piles of shit. Can you fucking believe this shit? Can you fucking believe she wrote this book, thought it was fantastic, and then every single person involved in getting this book published agreed, yeah, that's great. Let's put that out. Let's put that out. Let's greenlight that. Jesus fucking Christ. And again, that's on page 183. What percent of the way are we in?
What page?
183.
You've only made it 2 pages since the beginning of the video.
I'm aware.
43.9%.
We are 43.9% of the way through this fucking book. Imagine literally walking into a prison cell where people have been getting tortured 24/7 by being dipped in acid 24/7, soaked in acid, and telling them they are useless piles of shit if they are not physically fucking and mentally strong enough to immediately get back on their fucking feet and go and fight for you. Nobody's getting them medical attention. They are literally just being told, if you don't get up out of here under your own fucking power and then go and fight for us and be weapons for us, you are a useless pile of shit and you deserve to lie there and rot. And Martha Wells is supposed to be progressive. And we're supposed to think that she knows what fucking basic morality is. And now Martha Wells at the bottom of page 183 is trying to pretend that Kai is desperate to free the other demons. It's like, it's too late. You literally just told us all that you and the character think they're all useless piles of shit if they won't be useful to you. And specifically to the people that we now know in the future are going to create an evil fucking empire. Forgive me for not giving a fuck.
Especially because his comment about them being useless if they don't get up and kill their torturers literally just says that they're useless if they're not useful to the protagonist, which is why they're there. To get useful soldiers they can throw into battle.
He's been hit again by another crossbow bolt in the back. Also, apparently Taren's sword can just cut through all of the demon chains instantly, way faster than Kai's actual proper cutting tool can. So, why are we sending this child in to do this job when the literal fucking immortal person can do it herself with her sword way faster? That's just so. That's on page 184. And again, yeah, the only reason that they are freeing these demons is not because it's the right thing to do, because torturing people is bad. It's literally so that they can use them as cannon fodder. There's no other fucking reason they're letting these people out. And if they weren't going to use them as cannon fodder, they wouldn't be letting them out. And now the protagonist is explicitly telling these people, if you aren't going to be cannon fodder for us, then you deserve to lie there and rot. Because you're a useless pile of shit. Can you fucking believe it? Okay, I guess he got shot by another crossbow bolt at some point without us being told about it, because before, Taren pulled out all the ones that were sticking in him, and then he got shot by one more after she went off to do shit by herself. So we're just now told somebody else pulled the bolts, plural, out of his back. And we're pretending he has PTSD and I'm supposed to fucking care. Page 184, very bottom, somebody finally decides to dump water on them all from above. Kai staggered, his limbs suddenly weak, all the strength knocked out of him in one hammer blow. He fell to one knee, gasping for air. It wasn't the deluge. A brief exposure shouldn't do this. It was the memory of helplessness, of being trapped here. It left him stunned, froze his blood. Except you just said everybody who's physically unable to get up themselves and go and be cannon fodder for you is a useless pile of shit who deserves to rot in there. Martha Wells, why do you fucking expect me to care about this character and sympathize with him when he literally just told everybody else here that if they're too physically fucking weak to go and be useful, they deserve to rot because they're a useless pile of shit? What the fuck is wrong with you? Alright, Taren just pulled another crossbow bolt out of Kai's arm. We don't know when he got shot with that. That was not written. We're on page 185 now. We're getting again more speed running of the enemies to lovers trope because we're supposed to pretend that either ZD or Ta-Ren have enough personality to fill a fucking teaspoon. There. Ta-Ren breathed the word in relief. Kai hadn't heard her express that much emotion about anything and glanced at her in confusion. And again, that's going on the check mark of things were just told instead of shown. She couldn't even be bothered to put any emotional descriptions there, just telling us that she said it emotionally. Then he saw ZD floating down to the floor of the cageling court, because we're pretending that they're already in love when they've known each other for like maybe an hour at this point. This is pathetic. Let me just read these paragraphs in a group. Blah, there. Ta-Ren breathed the word in relief. Kai hadn't heard her express that much emotion about anything and glanced at her in confusion. Then he saw ZD floating down to the floor of the cageling court. She must have crawled out through the narrow window like Kai had. Her clothes were soaked from the rain and disheveled, her gold eye paint smeared. Ta-Ren stared at her as if stricken. That part's its own little paragraph by itself, that single line. Huh, Kai thought. That was a surprise. But everything today was a surprise, like finding Arn and Nefa, like the fact that they were still alive for the moment. Like, we're saying, oh, Ta-Ren's in love with ZD already? Because, it's shittily written. They don't know each other. But what the fuck ever. And ZD says, what are you waiting for? Have you lost your minds? Get to the motherless temple halls. If I did this for nothing, I will end both of you myself. Because she literally has no personality besides making threats. Page 186 now. We've managed to turn pages. The demons are given hope by the sight of ZD because she's a witch. We're managing to get to page 187. Page 187, Bashasa and his group are in a big, I guess it's a throne room or something, surrounded. Kai and Ta-Ren are leading the demons in. Kai sprints forward and starts attacking people. Of the bad guys. Kai has been stabbed through the chest. And then he just kind of we just get a little, next paragraph is, let me make it a little picture of an arrow so I know what's what and what's. He's been stabbed once, he's been shot at 8 times. And then we just get a little time skip between that paragraph and the next one because he's just going berserk. The astonishing part was other demons were there too, because Martha Wells is still trying to die on the fucking hill of the other demons aren't going to help, but also if they don't help, then they're useless piles of shit. We're on page 188. It's a fucking miracle. Guess I should make sure what the phone battery is at. It's at 49, that's fine. Page 189. All the demons are just following Kai around, and then he runs up to Bashasa and said, "This is Bashasa, he's your captain now." He used the Soretti word that there was no real imperial equivalent for, the one that meant more leader in traveling to danger. Bashasa, page 189, is like, "You have a knife in your chest." Which Kai forgot about, and then, huh? Okay, that's weird. I guess it by in his chest it means like in the front of one of his shoulders, because we're told that's what is wrong with his right arm. Only told there's something wrong with his right arm right then. Again, that's going in the thing. We're on page 190. We're managing to turn pages here. Oh, I meant to say this at the start of the video, but I will be making transcripts for all of these, so you'll be able to read them all on the Internet Archive, and obviously I'll update the automatic subtitle files for these videos so that they are actually correct. I just can't, before I was, for the alien things, I was recording the audio on my phone, which made an automatic transcript from that, which was way more accurate than Google. But I can't do that and record video on my phone at the same time. So I then have to just wait until Google makes the automatic transcript, and then I edit that while watching the video. So you don't have to watch these videos. I'll publish the transcript all to the Internet Archive. Why are you doing that, ZD? That's not helpful. ZD's just like standing up in the middle of the, or maybe I don't know. I don't know what kind of formation they're all in, but ZD's just standing there with them, and for some reason is like making a tornado, so that, um, I don't know why. Like everybody is struggling to. Everybody that's not ZD is struggling to stay upright and not accidentally stab each other with the spears they're holding, and I don't know why she's doing this. Why is this helpful, ZD? Um, Forcing the people around you to do friendly fire by accident because you are making a tornado for no reason. This is really fucking weird. Supposedly she had to do that so they could open some doors that I didn't know they were standing in front of, because it's badly written. Unnecessary. The hierarchs, aka the main fantasy Nazis, the immortal people, just decided to join up with them. Apparently, they're doing the magical nuclear bomb thing that they use to genocide the Soretti, and it's just making people fall over and shit. Kai is able to resist it because they've just been killing a whole bunch of people this whole time, so he's got multiple lifetimes of energy to use up. Don't know why none of the other demons are able to follow him, but I guess he's just special. It's a miracle Martha Wells used the word conjuration, first time it's been mentioned in this book properly. Now we're told in the past here that the well of power created by massacring shit tons of people smells like death and feels like pain and stolen lives. But then it's totally fine for Kai in the present time to desecrate the mass grave of an entire city that was genocided, and that's barely an afterthought. Ooh, and look, on page 191, Martha Wells makes sure to tell us that the fantasy Nazis are white people, as though that makes any of the racism, genocide apologism, and anything else she's doing in this book not racist anymore, because she's a white woman. And we all know now, because we have proof with Murderbot Diaries, she doesn't actually give a shit about people of color, because she's 100% fine and is literally overjoyed about Murderbot being whitewashed, and will tell you to spend your fucking grocery money subscribing to Apple. the people whitewashing her protagonist. She is literally just tokenizing people of color and using the fucking people of color in this book to pin her fucking obsession with pedophilia and eugenics on, to say that if you criticize it, you're not criticizing her, a white woman, for it. You're criticizing these fantasy brown people. So you're racist if you have a problem with her normalizing eugenics and pedophilia. We're on page 192. We've managed to turn some fucking pages. That's just a bad sentence. It just starts barely on page 191 with just the first word on that page. Frozen in place like a statue, comma, the expositor used the hierarch's well to flood the room with the numbing power that would kill everyone in range, comma, then feed their lives back into itself. That's just a weird fucking sentence. This close, the vortex of power had the weight of a mountain, and he collapsed under it. This was what it felt like to have your life eaten away. The hierarch's well pressed Kai into the cool ivory floor as his bones creaked and bent and snapped. Neck muscles straining, he forced his head up, just enough to see the expositor's gilded sandals under his skirt. Kai dragged his arm up to stretch out and grab a bare ankle. And again, just telling us, his bones are breaking. But we all know that now that those injuries will instantly heal with no input at all from anything, because it's not like he's getting stabbed. So there's literally nothing stopping those bones from healing themselves instantly. So Kai grabbed the expositor who was doing the magical nuclear bomb thing and drained his life. Got stabbed in the back by, I will read this, some kind of curse breaker. A short spear with a demon-killing intention on it. He wasn't sure. Then the world went dark. So are you telling me a curse breaker is not just a specific weapon shaped like a long black cane that you can somehow still keep in your inside coat pocket? It's any weapon with a demon-killing intention on it? That's really pathetic. Why are you even calling them curse breakers? Demons don't do curses. Of course, Martha Wells. Kai came back to feel the soft scrape of ivory tile under his hands, and he rolled over. He remembered crushing weight and splintering bones, but nothing hurt now. Yeah, because you've fucking established he heals instantaneously as long as he's not actively getting stabbed by something, which means broken bones will literally instantly get healed. Which means we cannot, it's literally impossible for us to take any injury he receives seriously. Continuing from that same paragraph, except his swimming head and the sick knot in his stomach. He saw white skirts and looked up, expecting to see the hierarch standing over him, but it was Bashasa. Bashasa flung out his arms. "Stop! Stop!" He stared down at Kai in horror. "Sister Witch!" Because I guess we're pretending Kai looks bad, even though all of his bones, all of his injuries are healed. She can't even... I'll just read this whole page to you because it's just stupid. Bashasa flung out his arms. "Stop! Stop!" He stared... I don't know what he's saying that for. He stared down at Kai in horror.
Voice.
Huh?
SpongeBob meme voice.
"And I live!"
That's what I'm imagining.
"Stop! Stop!" "Sister Witch!" Kai blinked up at him, then down to where the hierarch sprawled in blood-soaked robes, just past Bashasa's boots. The hierarch was dead. "Bashasa, you did it," he croaked. Kai should have been happier about that, but he just felt exhausted. Oh, right, because he had broken all Enna's bones and a powerful curse breaker had done something terrible to him. Well, her bones aren't broken, though, because you heal bones instantly. The only wounds that don't heal instantly is if you have something stabbed into them, which broken bones don't, because it's just bone. This was what being knocked adrift from your body was like, except not, because Bashasa was clearly staring at him and a mortal wouldn't be able to see an adrift demon. Zidi's voice said, "Kai?" Bashasa said, "Here, he's here." Zidi lunged into view, throwing herself down beside Kai, her brow knit in an incredulous frown, which at least was better than horror-struck disbelief. She said, "Kai?" He said, "Zidi?" His voice still sounded strange inside his own head. Bashasa killed the hierarch, didn't he? Zidi's gold makeup was a smeared mess. We were told that earlier. Whatever. He tried to reach up to wipe it away. "Kai," she took his hand. Her hands were warm, and he realized how cold he was. "Did you mean to do this?" "This?" "To kill the expositor," Kai managed. His ankle hurt, his back ached, he was freezing cold, worse than lying outside in an ice storm without a coat. Why did his voice sound so strange? Like, you told us he wasn't in any pain, then you're like, oh, he is in pain though, and he's not. It's not like was like numb or anything. Continuing on to page 194.
What page is this? This is really funny.
That's
This is
page
hilarious.
That's page 193.
You can't do this in the middle of your fucking book in a flashback.
This is
This
in the
means
past.
nothing. This could be interesting and cool and actually have weight for the reader if this was at the end of the book and there was some suspense of a standalone book, and if there was suspense about if Kai was gonna fucking die. But also, like, this is just extremely funny to read, or to listen to, because you can't do this less than 200 pages into your fucking $400 page
$400.
400 page standalone book.
Yeah. This to kill the expositor, Kai managed. His ankle hurt, his back ached. He was freezing cold, worse than lying outside in an ice storm without a coat. Why did his voice sound so strange? Now on page 194, she squeezed his hand. Yes, Kai, but did you mean to do this? She took his shoulders and turned his head toward where Bashasa still stood like a statue. No, past Bashasa toward the crumpled form that lay near the dead hierarch. Kai was looking at himself. He was looking at Enna's body. Her eyes were open, but they were mortal eyes. Kai had never seen Enna's eyes. When he had woken in her body the first time and had been shown her face in the polished metal mirror, her eyes were already the flat black wells that marked a demon habitation. Now they were brown flecked with green. Oh, you really had to do that? Are you serious? Dull and still with death. He said, and his voice came out in a different tone. That's me. Then the sick pain in his stomach welled up and his vision went black. You seriously had to give her... You had...
She's gotta have those special eyes.
She made... She has to have special eyes that are flecked with green instead of just brown eyes, as though there's something wrong with brown eyes. Really? And now we're on chapter 9, which is in the present, so we won't actually get to see the ramifications of this shit. And I guess this is, again, Martha Wells trying to backpedal away from the pedophilia
that she
wrote. Nobody held a gun to her head and said, you gotta make it pedophilic. So now Kai, who is still a child at this point, he's now presumably in the body of an adult man. So that means it's okay for him to be in a relationship with an adult man, despite Kai being a child. Chapter 9, page 195. Just in the stupid present future timeline where we've not accomplished anything. We get another. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. I can't even get the first paragraph. On the way back, Kai stopped at the edge of the forest and made a cantrip to call a messenger. He had wanted to do this earlier, but Enelin was landlocked and their cantrip didn't work on seabirds. After a time, a long-legged river bird walked out of the trees and stood in Kai's cantrip. The message he had written there dissolved into the dust, and the bird took wing.
Birds have a taxonomy based on sea or river that actually affects them on a physiological level?
Who the fuck knows? Like, what? So, whatever magic spell this is doesn't work on seabirds, but it does work on stuff like herons, things that are known to interact with the sea, because they do shit with rivers, and rivers connect to the sea. And again, this is another magical power that he has out of nowhere. This is going on the checkmark list. In just whatever we've been reading for this thing, we've had 5 things just appear out of nowhere without any setup before then to tell us that that was possible. How many fucking powers does he goddamn need? And this is how Martha Wells's magic systems always work, and that includes the hacking in the Murderbot Diaries. It's just... It does literally whatever the plot needs it to do. We'll never get any explanation ahead of time for what kind of shit you can do with it, because that gives her the ability to just do this shit whenever, literally on the instant that it is required, and then she'll just flip-flop around the rules about everything else, like the water and what effects that does or does not have on Kai at any given fucking moment. Page 196. We've managed to turn the page. The people who were trapped in torture stasis for some fucking reason have finally been released from the torture stasis and were carried into a building in the empty city that nobody lives in, despite all the people living here that were not seen as being a surprise because they don't count. Even though Martha Wells went out of her way to tell us that they have darker skin than most of the protagonists, and somehow they don't count, and they don't count as inhabiting this fucking city.
Racism in action.
Literally. And again, they just use their magical heart walkie-talkies so that Martha Wells doesn't have to actually do anything. That's so dumb. Kai, instead of just saying, "Hey, I killed the thing that was eating, or not even eating people, just killing people," he just walks up to the people who don't count as people living in the city, and drops the head of the ghoul that he has apparently been carrying around with him this whole time, and just plops it down on one of their tables that they're using to prepare food and shit with. One of their tables that they use, just throws the head there and then walks off. Doesn't say anything, because
That's what edgy, cool
I guess, yeah, that's what an edgy, cool protagonist would do. And it's just like he literally just walks up to these people carrying a severed head, doesn't explain shit, and just throw it down on one of their tables. Okay, no, he did set it on the salt-crusted pavement, but, like, he scared some of people into the point of, like, one of them fell off their boats and is splashing in the water. And I guess that's cool.
Traumatizing and people with extremely violent and gory dismembered body parts.
Yeah, just carrying around a severed head to traumatize people for no reason, not even explaining anything to anyone, and I guess that's cool. Martha Wells thinks that being edgy is the same thing as being cool, and it's ridiculous. Hashem looked aghast, because Hashem exists just to be scandalized by whatever shit Kai does, and we're just supposed to whatever. She wants to bring the word chimera and use that so much. Kai says, "If there's anything else you need from the ship, get it now." This is page 196. Ramad started to speak, then stared at Kai, eyes widening. Hashem took a full step back with a muffled curse. "How?" she demanded. "Is that a chimera?" I think we're talking about the severed head here. Page 197. Huh?
Didn't he set that down?
Yeah, he just threw it down like 20 feet away. And then says, "If there's anything else you need from the ship, get it now." "How?" she demanded. "Is that a chimera?" And then the next page is, "It wasn't really any of her business, but Kai asked, 'Does it look like a chimera?'" Like,
what do you mean it wasn't her business?
How is it? This is, like, does Martha Wells not understand that this is just misogyny? Having a male character literally just constantly antagonizing and belittling a female character, and we're supposed to agree with the male character who's doing it. That's just misogyny. It's racist misogyny, because this is a woman of color. The fact that she is pretending that Kai is a person of color doesn't mean shit, because Martha Wells, he's clearly just Martha Wells' spokesperson. "No, it looks real," Ramad assured him, clearly trying to conceal mild horror. "Martha Wells, you are so fucking pathetic!" Page 197. Let me just read this. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ. Alright, let's restart this. Let me summarize the fucking scene. Kai walks up out of the woods carrying a severed head. He throws that on the ground, at the people who don't count as living in this totally empty city that nobody lives in. They don't count because they're dark-skinned people of color. They don't count. He throws the severed head at them, walks up, says, hey, if there's anything to Ramad and Hashem, says, if there's anything you want off the boat, get it now. Hashem responds for some reason with, how? Is that a chimera? And then we get told that wasn't really any of her business. Kai says, does it look like a chimera? And then Ramad says, no, it looks real. And, says, who was that? And then Hashem says, and did you kill him for those? With a grimace, Hashem jerked her head in the general direction of Kai's face. Kai hissed out a breath. He didn't owe either of them an answer, but he was... Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Kai hissed out a breath. He didn't owe either of them an answer, but he was tired of being misunderstood at every turn. The man who just waltzed up carrying a severed head with no explanation, literally offering no explanation to anyone, he just threw this at some people.
Are they homeless people? Or
no, they live here. They literally live in this city and have been for a long fucking time. But Martha Wells tells us they don't count because she told us over and over and over and over again, the city is completely empty. Nobody lives here. But then they get here and there's people living here and nobody is like, wow, that's new. No, we don't bring up the fact that we're told nobody lives here. They just don't fucking count as people living in this fucking city. Kai walks up with a severed head, no explanation, throws it at some people, doesn't mention it at all, and now Kai hissed out a breath. Because he's shoved somebody's eyes into his fucking sockets. Clearly, Kai hissed out a breath. He didn't owe either of them an answer, but he was tired of being misunderstood at every turn, the way that actual people of color are constantly fucking portrayed and reacted to as though every single thing they do is violent and threatening and scary to white people. The way minorities of every fucking kind are actually fucking demonized for not actually doing anything wrong and said that they are being scary and violent and threatening and asking too much. But no, guys, Kai, poor innocent little Kai, who just walked up with a severed head, no explanation, clearly has somebody else's fucking eyeballs shoved into his fucking skull to hide the fact that he is a demon. He's poor and oppressed and so put upon and is so tired of people thinking he's a bad person just because he clearly decapitated somebody, has offered no fucking explanation, before has tortured people in front of 2 children, willfully endangered every single person on that ship for literally no fucking reason, including one of those children, and so much shit. He's the real misunderstood poor victim of oppression here, because somebody asked, did you decapitate that man to steal his eyes? Because he has decapitated someone, has offered no explanation, just threw the fucking decapitated head at some people, and then walked up to show everybody he has fucking eyeballs that don't belong to him in his fucking eyes.
Did he pull his other ones out?
We
How does that even work?
Martha Wells didn't bother to tell us that's what was going on.
That should be the number one thing that we're being answered. Can he see out of them?
And Kai, I just cannot get over this shit. I swear to fuck. Kai hissed out a breath. He didn't owe either of them an answer, but he was tired of being misunderstood at every turn. It was a body-stealing ghoul. If you think it was pleasant for these mortals to live with it, I'm gonna get... Jesus. Oh my God. Oh my God. Micah, what do you think he's going to finish this sentence with? What What kind of reaction do you think Martha Wells has decided is the appropriate reaction to this question?
I'm gonna say that they're just as bad as that random body stealing ghoul or whatever. I'm still caught on the fact that he's got somebody else's eyes shoved into his skull.
Yeah,
and can see through them, but
Yeah.
they're not his eyes, so they're not turning black like a demon's.
Yeah.
But you would assume that they would have to turn black because they now belong to the body he is in.
Uh-huh.
Unless the other eyes are just squished into the back of his skull behind those.
We don't fucking know.
Which would imply that he's constantly in agony, thus has the power of a god. But these are logical questions you would have to answer if you actually cared about having rules in your universe, which actually makes it fun for a reader to read instead of just throwing
Alright,
shit
you're
at
going
them
too
all
long.
and see it.
Shush.
You're the one asking me questions.
Yes, but not that long. Alright, everybody, prepare yourselves. This is the kind of reaction that Martha Wells has to any criticism of her writing. She does this. So that's why she's making her character do this. After pretending that Kai is a poor, demonized, put upon minority because people are upset that he decapitated someone. It was a body-stealing ghoul. If you think it was pleasant for these mortals to live here with it nearby, you're wrong! Martha Wells is literally saying that if you are upset by this person who has shown zero regard for anybody, including children, if you are upset about the fact that he's just decapitated some random fucking person and then threw that head at people and has offered zero explanation and has clearly shoved somebody else's fucking eyeballs into his skull to hide the fact that he's a demon. If you are at all upset by this at all, that's the same thing as saying that you should not kill body-stealing ghouls. That's the reaction this character is going with, that we are supposed to think is a reasonable reaction. Kai hissed out a breath, because he's a poor, put-upon, oppressed minority that everybody is always reading in bad faith. He didn't owe either of them an answer, but he was tired of being misunderstood at every turn. They're not misunderstanding you when they don't like you for the horrible things you are actively fucking doing. It was a body-stealing ghoul. If you think it was pleasant for these mortals to live here with it nearby, you're wrong! Again, this is the exact shit that he did when Hashem was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be bringing little girls along on a quest for revenge where you're gonna torture people in front of them. And Kai was like, oh, so you think I should just throw her on an abandoned fucking island? You think I should just drop her on an active volcano? Huh? You think I should just put her on some random city to fend for herself as a homeless child? That's what you want me to do? And it's like, nobody fucking said that. And again, here, and Martha Wells wants us to think that Kai is correct, that he is a poor, oppressed fucking minority. She wants us to think that witches and demons who torture people in front of children and actively endanger everybody, including those children. We're supposed to think they are poor, oppressed minorities that people just hate for no reason. This is absurd. This is page 197. This book is just ridiculous. Hashem admitted grudgingly, instantaneously, with no anything. I've heard of those. We had one sniffing around a way station when I was first posted to the south coast. Body stealing, Ramad repeated, brow furrowed as the implications set in. And you got those from it? Kai resisted the urge to scratch or poke at his borrowed eyes. The only mirror he had been able to find was a still pool off the path in the jungle. He knew they looked natural enough to fool anyone but another witch. What do you mean another witch? You're not a witch. Which he doubted would be a problem. This is just fucking useless. The immortal blessed don't let witches and demons wander around holy sites looking for old artifacts they used to use to harass and punish each other. Now, do you need anything from the ship? Need anything else from the ship? Apparently, Immortal Lady has just been standing up at the railing listening to all of this, not participating in this conversation in any way. We're on page 198. We've managed to fucking turn a page. Want to bring me that fan and just plug it there?
You're less than 10 pages from the halfway point.
We are less than 10 pages from the halfway point of this book. That will be page 207. Again, some more posturing about this being a political drama where there's intrigue and, people's motivations. Page 198. The Rising World Council will still have questions about blah, 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 blah. Kai lost the rest as Zidi's urgent voice said, "Kai, we're out of time," with their magical heart walkie-talkies. "Kai, we're out of time. The stone under the steering column is glowing." That meant more Immortal Blessed were coming, using the ship's well source as a focus. Kai held up a hand for Ahmad to stop talking. Did Sadrin, Immortal Lady, call them? Zidi's inner voice was breathless. She said she didn't, and if that's true, they've tracked us some other way. 'Cause Immortal Lady's motives totally matter. He didn't know what his expression was doing, but Ramad looked concerned and Hashem's brow knit. Kai said, "Cohort leader, tell your cadre to hide. Stay quiet. Immortal Blessed are coming. Maybe the ones who gave Akhlines the ship." The fishing people who live in this city who don't count as people living in this city speak enough witch speak for Kai to just say danger from the sky, aka Immortal Blessed are coming, and then they are all running to hide. That's page 198. So now we're treating the fucking immortal fantasy Nazis as though they'll kill everybody. And we said they wouldn't do that before, but now we're saying they will again. Because again, like the magic system, the characters and world just does whatever the plot requires because Martha Wells is shit at fucking writing. We're on page 199. Sanja says, "Ugh, what happened to your eyes?" Kai says, "I know, and it's a disguise." Because I guess Sanja thinks the new eyes look gross? That's weird. What are you Jesus fucking Christ. Page 199. This was far too close to Kai's worst prediction, that one or more immortal blessed were involved and would come to kill them and all the mortal witnesses. The thing we said wasn't actually true when they were pressing the button to summon the immortal murderous person. I guess it's true now that, reasons. And again, more posturing about, ooh, but what if at character Y, the blah blah. Ziti said, if Immortal Lady Sadrin tells them we're going to the conventiculum, will she? Kai didn't think Immortal Lady was involved. I'm not making you memorize her name. Her name is Immortal Lady, as far as I fucking care. She hated expositors almost as much as she hated witches and demons. Blah, 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 blah. Huh? What? If Immortal Lady resisted these newcomers, she might end up in the same prison as Taren, period, which would serve her right, period. But why would that serve her right? She didn't kill all of you like you said she totally would. Whatever. We're on page 200 now. It's a miracle. So the spell thing that Kai was doing earlier was to make a ghost boat using the well of power created by all of the people who were mass slaughtered in this city that were not supposed to think twice about him desecrating a mass grave for genocide. It's fine. It's totally cool. Baffled, Sandra said, and I'm not joking, this is the exact dialogue. Baffled, Sandra said, "What the shit is that? A ghost?" Because we're just swearing. We're just throwing more swears in out of nowhere. Sanja said pointedly, "But it's not a real boat." Ziti says, "It'll work, Sanja. It doesn't know it's not a real boat. Because the ghost boat is slightly transparent." Whatever. Kai says confidence is very important in these kind of workings. That might be supposed to be funny, but I don't know. We're on page 201. It's a miracle. She really wants to make the word chimera a thing. Ziti summoned her wind devils and said, "We're going to need you for that chimera, Kai." I don't know what chimera they're gonna do. They haven't fucking said anything. He didn't make the thing to summon the ghost boat very close to the water for some reason, so they have to push it into the water. Which is what they've been doing for the past, 2 pages. We're now on page 202. We're really not supposed to like Immortal Lady who didn't kill a single person despite all of the build-up telling us that she definitely fucking would. Because she's taking the temple boat and just leaving. And we're supposed to be mad at her for that, even though they are, specifically told her to fuck off. Because they don't need that anymore, because they have this ghost boat. Immortal Lady, I'm just going to keep calling her that. I'm not saying her name anymore. I don't give a shit, and you don't need to have to remember it. Immortal Lady moving the Immortal Blessed ship might distract their pursuers. Period. Kai was sure any help Immortal Lady gave them was unintentional and due to her own impatience to leave and her stubborn disregard of anything else going on around her. What do you mean her stubborn disregard for anything else going on around her? What are you talking about? What? She has no fucking reason to be interested in you fuckers? What? Why are we trying to pretend that her taking the boat back without killing a single person or even threatening a single person? Why are we pretending that's her being a bad person when, Martha Wells went out of her way to tell us whoever showed up would almost certainly kill everybody. She didn't even threaten anybody. What in the fuck is going on here? Besides more misogyny of dislike that female character for no fucking reason. Ramad has run to come with these guys for some fucking reason. We're on page 203 now. We have to be reminded that Sanja exists again. Her broken toes still have never made a fucking reference at all. He's eating those beans.
No beans for babies.
He's looking so intently. You want to come sit with me, Mr. Pretty Kitty? Or Taz? Nope. Apparently Kai's clothing is sopping wet again. I wasn't aware he had been in the water, but okay, and that's fine. Not like water's supposed to be acid to him or anything. On page 203, we are once again desecrating the fucking mass grave for the genocide that was committed in this city, literally stealing the people who were killed's life force to just do casual magic like it's nothing.
When he could stub his toe to do the
He
same
could
thing.
literally, as Twin has just pointed out, Kai could literally just stub his toe. He could just smack himself on the fucking hand. Just go like that. And the amount of pain that causes would give him stupid amounts of fucking power. He doesn't need to be desecrating this mass fucking grave. He does not need to be just desecrating what should be a fucking memorial. But he is doing it, and we are not supposed to think twice about it, because Martha Wells is so fucking bigoted and racist that she's like, yeah, genocide, that's just a word you can throw around for funsies. That's totally cool and normal. It's totally fine to just do this shit. What? Apparently you can just mix and match witch magic and expositor magic, so you can do a cantrip and an intention and make them mix together, and that's not how that should fucking work. But it is now, all of a sudden, on page 203. That's a thing you can do now. Along with Kai being able to use any fucking magic he wants for bullshit. Like, okay. Apparently in the past, just in the past, he apparently was accidentally body swapped with the expositor, maybe? Except even that doesn't work. Because A, Kai's not in that body anymore. The ability to do expositor magic should have died when that person died. It shouldn't be tied to the physical body. It should be tied to their soul, because we're specifically told that their magic stops working when they die. Meaning it's not, and not like when their body finishes rotting down. It's just the instant they dead, their magic stops working unless they were super powerful. So that's just stupid.
Combining witch and expositor magic, weaving two different magic systems together, again, should be an end game thing that somebody does after tons of training and it's a lot of effort.
That could happen 4 books into a goddamn series. After we've set up how difficult that would be and had the characters actually work for it. No, they're just doing it casually, like it's nothing. Now we're randomly getting told also on page 203 that wind devils get tired. ZD would need to let her wind devils switch out frequently to maintain this pace.
Don't forget the Sharpie.
I've run out of room on my arm. Wait, no, that's on my hand. So we gotta do 2 marks because randomly you can combine witch and expositor magic. Like it's nothing. Like, it's not even difficult. Tenez did half of that for the witch part, and then Kai just added stuff for the expositor shit. And it's like, so it doesn't even need to be him and ZD because they've been working together for what? Decades? Hundreds of years? We have no fucking idea of how much time has passed. That could almost work if, but it's not. It's just casual. We're on page 204. Is Hashem's cadre, Ramad began on page 204. ZD, Ramad, what do you think you're doing? ZD cut him off. We're not your friends, no matter how much you would like us to believe we are. It's like, okay, that's out of nowhere. But then again, that is her entire personality. Be mean, say edgy things. Like, what is the point of this?
In her own words, an angry shrew of a woman.
Literally, Martha Wells decided to describe her own female character as an angry shrew. and everybody in the acknowledgments of this book and more decided, yeah, that's fine. That's good. Let's do that.
Specifically to ward off that exact thing from happening.
Even though nobody would refer to her as an angry shrew, because most misogynists aren't even misogynistic enough to say that.
Like, calling
Without-
her angry shrew so that you can then reply in therapy, TikTok therapy speak. You're whatever.
You're righteously angry. You're righteously angry, ZD. You're always right. Never let anybody tell you you're wrong for doing all of this objectively evil shit. Like, literally, what is this? It's Asham's what? Oh, okay. Somebody said, you should have stayed with the cadre. And then Ramad says, it's Hashem's cadre. Whatever. And then, Ramad, what do you think you're doing? Zidi cut him off. We're not your friends, no matter how much you would like us to believe we are. It's just, like, ridiculous. And Ramad responds, we both want to find Taren Stargard, and I meant what I said. I want to know who's behind this. I'm a Rising World Imperial officer, and I'm in a Reich. I know what you did for us.
I'm a Rising World Imperial officer, but don't call the Rising World an empire.
Yeah, don't
You know,
call
that's
them
what
an evil
imperial
empire.
thing is.
It's not technically an empire, guys. Remember that. It's
We
not.
just have
It wasn't an
imperial
empire
officers.
back then, and it still technically isn't one now. Even the empire calls itself an empire. I am a Rising World Imperial officer, but it's not an evil empire, guys. It's totally fine. We get this line. Zedi shook her head wearily. I can't decide whether you're a bad spy pretending to be an innocent or a good spy pretending to be a bad one to lull us into complacency. We're now on page 205. I'm not even going to bother reading that last paragraph. It was so bad.
When you get to 207, you've made it to 50%.
We have 2 more pages to go, and then we are at 50% through this book. And then just more posturing about, ooh, it's so complex, it's totally a political drama, character motivations, and all of this bullshit that doesn't fucking matter. Now we randomly get told that Kai is begrudgingly starting to like Ramad. Out of nowhere. No, literally nothing in the narrative ever to even imply that. They're talking with their heart walkie-talkies and like, maybe we should just spell him to sleep and dump him overboard and then he can just walk back. And then Kai's like, I think we can use his help. And then Zedi says, you really want to drag someone else into this? When they are dragging 2 children into this and have already displayed literally less than 0 fucks to give about the safety of these children? and literally pretended, and Martha Wells wants us to pretend that they are poor, oppressed minorities for somebody else pointing out that they should not be dragging children into this? No, Kai told her. But he also believed in letting people make their own choices. It's like, okay. So apparently they're not going to the conventiculum or Stios. That's a trap. Either the finding stones were never there, or they were only sent there to be destroyed. Immortal Lady would never have let us near them. Whatever's waiting there, it's nothing that can help us. So again, Martha Wells is just lying to us about what's going on for no reason. Literally no reason at all.
What was the life one?
This whole time we've been told that they're going to this conventiculum of the immortals, the island that the supposed good guys gave to the immortal fantasy Nazis, because they'd killed enough of the indigenous population that it wasn't worth giving back the land to the actual people it belonged to, who'd been living there since the dawn of time. Most of them were dead anyways. Or scattered to the winds, so we don't have to give the land back. It's totally fine. What in the fuck, Martha Wells, and what in the absolute fuck for every single person who read these, how many drafts? I guess we don't know how many words this book is. Do we know how many words is half of this book? Because that acknowledgement said Martha Wells' friend had read what felt like hundreds of drafts of the first 30 to 80,000 words. All of those drafts, including this shit, and this is the final product. So what the fuck kind of disaster were the first 100 drafts? And how is this the best, these people who are charging $28.99 for this shit, how is this the best they could cobble together? We're on page 206, and it's a tiny page, too. Ramad says, so where are we going? To the summer halls, Kai said, or what's left of them. And now we're on page 207, which is the past, the changing. So we'll read the little thingamajig above it. It's got dots at the start of each sentence and at the end, so it's just random disconnected things. ... Demons could steal mortal bodies. Demons could steal mortal bodies. It was that they would not, or had been forbidden it. ... That was how they fought the Sereti in the Great War between the Grass Plains and the Under-Earth, before the treaty that ceded the Witchlands to their issue. ... Such buried knowledge not even the Sereti know much of, only that the war happened and witches came from it. ... Fragments of documents recovered from a western mountain hill fort, burned during the Hierarch's invasions of the Grasslands, from the Rising World Archive at Benes Arik. So the Sereti were at war with the Under-Earth before the Sereti started sex trafficking children from the Under-Earth to use in their eugenics program. So were the Sereti trying to enslave the demons, and that's what caused the war? What in the fuck? Why would you... What? So these two... Like, what in the fuck is this? What is this? What? The Sereti had a great war with the Under-Earth, aka the place where the demons are originally from. And then the war ended, and now the Sereti... We don't know what they are giving up, if they're giving up anything. they've made a deal with the Devil Mom that she will send her little babies to them to use in a eugenics program. So, did the Soretti literally fucking colonize the underworld? And now the underworld has to pay them tribute in the form of children to use for eugenics? Is that where witches come from? Are witches just the half demons? Is that what this is fucking going for? And Martha Wells thinks all of it's fine? Because I very fucking highly doubt that she is going to reveal, actually, they were the bad guys all along. Anyways, the laptop battery is probably getting low, and this video is already 2 hours and 6 minutes long, so we're just going to end it here. That's the start of page 107, so we're now officially halfway through. Bye-bye.